Hello everyone and good evening. Nice to see you. My name is Wendy and I'm in Spain where it's evening right now. So if you have a good morning or a good afternoon, that's amazing as well. I'm the organizer of the Dutch Food Festival that will happen this year from 8 to 12 of August. And this evening I will introduce you to Nate, who will be calling in at the festival together with his awesome girlfriend Melissa, and you know her from Raw Food Romance, and his name's Raw Netty Nate. So let's invite him. Hey Sophie, so nice to see you. So let's invite Nate to join us at when he's coming in. So I if you saw my invitation before, I met him through the Ultimate Raw Vegan bundle, and he's got like this he did like this awesome microgreens course, so that I still have to do it. Actually, I had a look at that. It looks really amazing, but I must say I still have to do it because I was following all the awesome 5-day lives. So let's see, I accept, I invite 2 times, I accept, let's see how it's going. It's always taking some time. And yeah, let's meet him. Let's see where he lives, what he does, what awesome stuff. So that's at Raw Netty Nate if you want to find him. I'll just accept again and again and again and again. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oops, pressed the wrong button. Not the time to play with filters. Hey!
Hey! How are you?
Good day. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. And it's evening time for you over there?
Yes. I said that to people. It's evening. I try to make it work with the light, so.
Nice. What time is it?
It's 8 in the evening.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Morning
nice.
For you, right?
Yeah, it's 11:11. We'll make a wish.
Woo-hoo. Oh my God, I've had 11:11 for the last 4 days, 2 times a day.
Nice. Right on.
And then I was just explaining this to my partner here, and I said, you know what? Like, I have this 11 all the time. We talk about some different topics. I said, okay, we should go now outside because I need some watermelon. I take the phone and like, oh my God. So 11:11. Thank you for being here, Nate. Yes. So nice to have you. I explained people only a teeny tiny bit, so I would like to give you the word. Do you want to introduce yourself? Where do you live now? Where you're from? And yeah, what might people know you from?
Excellent. Yeah, heck yeah, Wendy. Thanks for having me on. So my name is Nathan Maris. And I'm known as Raw Natty Nate on Instagram. That's my YouTube name, my Facebook name, Raw Natty Nate. And yeah, you know, we live downtown Las Vegas. Basically, our address is Las Vegas Boulevard. We're living right downtown. We've lived here for almost a year, Alyssa and I. So yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty fun. Definitely, you know, a crazy place to land for a little while. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And yeah, you know, I've been basically kind of in this raw food community for a little over 5 years now, eating raw foods and having a great time, and just trying to share really as much information that you know I can with people. I mean, of course, I know there's like really good content creators that put out a lot of content all the time, and I feel, you know, a little down sometimes on myself because I should be putting out more content than I do. But either way, whatever the case is, yeah, raw foods is definitely kind of my thing here on Instagram, teaching people how to have fun with their food, not to be scared of the foods that they're eating. You know, of course, we prescribe, it's interesting because there's different camps in the raw food community, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in the camp of kind of more like fresh gourmet and, you know, keeping our calorie count up and that kind of sort of thing. So, and just having fun, kind of chefing it up, making it look good, you know, because like we eat with our eyes, right? So
Also, yes, that's
yeah,
making that's like scientifically researched, you know, that's
yeah,
you're so right. And yeah, I got you there. So you guys are in the gourmet fresh delicious meals camp, and I'm very happy to have met you through Melissa, who's now your wife. I remember you guys like moving and she thinking about like coming over to Europe or not, and yeah, it's really amazing. So hope we'll meet in real life someday, when it's when it's possible, at the festival, or maybe I'll come back to Las Vegas. It's really amazing place there. So, and I can
yeah,
see the desert's getting to you, no?
yeah.
The
It's kind of
heights.
weird. I'm in front of the window, so like the light makes my skin kind of look shiny, I feel like. But yeah,
I know
definitely.
this. I
Yeah,
know this. Me
yeah.
too. Me too. All right. So yeah, do you have like any other family, because you came from the north, right? Like, do you have family members around?
No. Um, let's see. I always like to picture we have like family, friends, and loved ones, and then relatives, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's
So, family, yeah, I would say I've got some family close by. No relatives, but some family. Does that
okay.
make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely. English is not my first language, so I am not always into detail with the words that I use, especially being in Spain now for so long. You need to use
Mm.
the most simple words, and so people sort of understand you if you don't speak Spanish, that I am
Yeah.
learning, which is worse than my English. So yeah, okay, no relatives around, but one relative, right? One family is your wife. Like, that's, I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's going amazing since she's a creator as well. But do you remember like transitioning, moving away? Like, how did people react to your change of diet, if I may ask?
Mm. Yeah, when I changed my diet to eating raw foods predominantly, I was working in the medical field at that time. I was working in a pulmonary clinic. So we would do sleep studies, like study how many times people wake up in the middle of the night. And we would prescribe, of course, medications, CPAP machines, because people aren't getting enough oxygen while they are sleeping because of their sleep apnea. And it was really at that point in time that I became raw. And I had some friends that were like a little, kind of apprehensive of what I was doing. And I started to actually drop quite a bit of weight. I was pretty inflamed. I was plant-based. I was vegan, right? So I would eat vegan transitional foods like the mock meats, the mock cheeses, milks and ice creams and butters and breads and chips and all the stuff, right? So I wasn't necessarily like trim. But I've also been like, I don't know if it's maybe my background, but I've always been kind of a little more husky, I guess you could say. So I started to really trim down, and that started to kind of worry some of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only
Yeah.
because they were used to seeing me their whole life kind of, a little more pudgy, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes. Well, some have that. Like, I've always
yeah.
been the skinny, slender person that people think that I am like too skinny. Like,
Mm,
so
yeah.
yeah, I think it's just genetics or something. Because I
Yeah.
wasn't eating a whole lot better than you, as it sounds. So yeah. Okay, so you lost some weight and people were noticing.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing was I ended up actually starting to sell the food that I was making to some of my coworkers.
Uh-huh.
Like I would make banana ice cream and I'd make smoothies and I would make my salads. And, it's interesting because I would bring my blender to work and I would blend up my dressing fresh and, or smoothies or banana ice cream later in the day. And by the time I was able to cut up all my, salad and veggies and blended dressing, some of my coworkers were just getting back with their meals that they had purchased like at the food trucks, across the street. So
Yeah.
they would look at hey, what's up, Jolene? Oregon Jolene is in here. She's actually one of like my coworkers. I necessarily call her my coworker. She was
Wow.
she was a nurse coordinator when I was working in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, yeah, so people were like saying like, "Oh, I should be eating that. Like that looks good. I should be eating that." And I'm like, "You want some? I'll share with you, or I'll make you a
Oh,
salad." So
amazing.
so
Uh-huh.
I started to make them food, and their reaction, that was fun because their reaction was intrigued, like, "Oh wow, this actually tastes really good, this is," and I was like, "Yeah, like it's just an oil-free dressing, on the salad, like it's going to be delicious." And then the ice cream and the smoothies, I ended up starting to sell smoothies. Like I had a couple people like kind of sign up like a subscription. They're like, "Can you just make me a smoothie every day?" And I was like, "Totally, I'll make you a smoothie
So
every day."
actually, you're at work doing extra work, right?
Yep. Yeah. I would like run in between patients and like, make the smoothies in the morning and then, hook up people. And yeah, so it was really fun because they were able to see just kind of like what I was eating every single day.
Mhm.
And of course, I was losing a lot of weight. But I had weight to lose. I didn't really get down to like a really unhealthy weight, but I had lost quite a bit of weight. So their reaction was kind of mixed. Like some people would be like, "Oh my gosh, like you're doing so amazing. You look really good." And other people would be like, "Are you okay? Like, are you on drugs?" And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
"No, I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
eating my watermelon, having my
Like,
smoothie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Are you
So
okay? It's now happening with the watermelon. What did you eat today?
today,
Uh,
oh yeah, right,
seven
right,
kilos of watermelon and one
right.
mango. And you?
Yeah. Yeah, see, and like
What would you eat?
I I would follow, like, when you tap into any world, right? Any different world, there's so many different worlds out there. And say the raw food world, there's certain people who, are predominant content creators, and you can kind of tap in and you can kind of attune yourself to what they're saying. And so I tried different things. And of course, really what kind of got my eyes to open was watching my mom reverse her kidney cancer with
Wow.
raw foods, but she was also like fighting for her life, right? So
Wow.
her protocol was a lot more strict than what I wanted to adopt because I wasn't fighting cancer. She was on her last kidney. Like she had the other kidney
Wow.
removed. She had kidney cancer before.
When did that happen? Like 5 years ago?
No, it's so I think she got cancer in her one kidney and had it removed in 2007 if I remember correctly. And then in 2013 she was diagnosed with cancer in her other kidney. And when you get both kidneys removed, you're on dialysis for the rest of your life, which what that is sitting down in a hospital or a dialysis center, and they take your blood out. They hook you up, all your blood goes through a machine and filters, because that's what our kidneys are doing, is are filtering, our blood. So it's really like no way to live, right?
Yeah, and
So
it's so hard to work with people, like with
yeah.
clients today. They say, yeah, my kalium it's too high, my phosphate's too low, and I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Mm,
but once a week they'll clean your whole blood out of everything, and then you are depleted in everything, and then
mm,
like next week before you go, your blood is like polluted with stuff
yeah,
again. So I have
yeah,
no idea where to start except raw foods, right?
mm,
But your
yeah.
mom's still okay? She's like healthy living.
My mom and I don't have a really close relationship. So I
Okay.
don't necessarily know what she's doing right now, Wendy, honestly. Um,
But she's
I
not
don't,
dead.
but she's not dead. No. And
Okay.
her cancer was gone. It started to, we sent her to Gerson, right? We sent her to the Gerson clinic, and really just kind of watching what she did, I was like, I should probably do this because I know of like 7 different family members and my biological father who passed away from CHF, which is congestive heart failure, in his 50s. And I'm like, I should probably adopt like a better eating style than what I am doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until 8 months later, my mom was cured. I was still eating, vegan food. And it wasn't until I met this guy, John, who was on the ski lift. We're skiing. I was skiing solo that day, and he's like single, and I'm like single. So we connect and we ride up the lift together, and we start talking about life and whatever. And he's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a medical assistant at the pulmonary clinic, And I told him about my mom, and he's like, "Yeah." He's all, "I reversed my stage 4 colorectal cancer at the age of 42, and I've been a raw foodie for 44 years ever since."
You just happen to sit next to this person in the ski lift. What a coincidence, right?
Yeah, and he was 86 years old.
Wow, okay. That's such an amazing story to hear. That's so important to share that. I'm so happy that you're sharing that like on this video right now, and that people, can hear about this.
Yeah, that was the like click for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "You're 86 years old?" I'm like, "No way."
In my ski lift? Yeah.
Right? And of course, being a guy, I'm like, "How's the flagpole?" Right?
Yeah.
And he's all still full mast. And I'm like, "No way." Like good blood flow. Like this guy was he was amazing. And I told him, I was like, "Yeah, I told my mom that I would listen to her and follow what she's doing, but it's a little extreme." What John was all about was living foods. I don't know his last name. I didn't get his phone number. It was really just like a quick little moment. So, but I remember like at the very end of the lift, he took off his goggles, he lifted them up, and he's this 86-year-old man, right?
Yeah.
And he like looks right into my soul and was like, "You should listen to your mom, Nate." And then put his goggles back on, and I was like, "Holy shit, is this like my future self?" Right? Like this is a message that I need to receive. He's telling me like what he did. Colorectal cancer is like 3rd leading cause of death in humans.
Yeah, I know. My grandpa died from that. I watched the whole process and removing things and
really like a lot of it. Oh, it's horrible. And it's really it stems from many things, but it's a low fiber diet, and that's what most developed countries are eating, a really low fiber diet, right? So I didn't get to really dig into exactly his protocols and how he lived his life, but he was all about living foods. He's all, "What do you want to be, Nate?" And I was like, "Well, I want to be thriving and alive." And he's all, "Well, you are what you eat, eat foods that are like living." And I'm like, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So
eat living foods if you want to be alive, like that, right?
Yeah. So it's really, really interesting. So that for me was it. So that's when I went home that night and got on YouTube and was like, "How to become a raw vegan." And that's when I found Lisa.
What to look for. That's amazing. Like when you know how to be a raw vegan, like that this word. Like a lot of people that join us now, they know this word, how to be raw vegan. Like I never heard of raw or vegan, or like I don't know about that. And I mean, it's so amazing that you got like somebody giving you the hint,
Well, and he didn't call himself a raw vegan. He called himself a raw foodie.
Oh, okay, raw foodie. All right.
And so I was like, I went home and was looking up like, raw vegan bodybuilders, because I'm a guy and I want to be strong and healthy. Like, I don't want to be emaciated and falling apart, because I've seen.
You don't want to be this husky anymore, right? That's
right.
Right.
Okay. Or I don't want to be malnourished.
Right. Yeah.
So how can I adopt this diet and incorporate it into my lifestyle to where it's balanced and it's tasty and it's fun? And so I was researching on YouTube, trying to find people who are living this lifestyle. And that's when I found Lisa, Raw Food Romance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I found her page. I would watch her videos and I'm like, this chick knows what's up. Like she's really, really like, centered. She's got a great mindset. She's really centered. She's really balanced. she's getting enough nutrition, she's getting enough variety. So I basically followed her. I bought her meal plan that night after meeting John on the ski lift, bought her meal plan, and then told my coworkers, hey, do you guys want to go raw with me for like, let's do 30 days. Let's just do 30 days raw.
It was a 30-day meal plan. I don't know. I met her in real life, like at the 1 year after I went raw, like the same time as she went raw. And I never know. Like, so you went 30 days on raw? Like, was 30 days? Wow.
30 days on raw. And what I did was I made all the food, right? I just had I had 2 other coworkers that came with me, actually 3, but one fell off like within the first couple days. The other 2 did really well. They did kind of like raw till 4, right? Like they would go home and they would have their cooked meal. But I was like bound and determined to like really dial this in and get it, you know, figured out. And really the hardest part going raw, the hardest part in a lot of ways is just knowing what to do, what to shop for, and how to prepare these foods to where you're going to get enough nutrition, you're going to get enough calories, you're going to get enough vitamins and minerals. I am not in the camp. There's these different camps, right, in this community. And I didn't necessarily really resonate with the camps that were more on the extreme sides of things. Like I understood there's hygiene and there's different ways to really kind of go about this. But
and what's the extreme? What's
the extreme in my mind is not eating an abundance of different varieties of food and having food fear.
All right.
Being scared of combining certain foods. Like, you know, of course, I can't eat strawberries and melon at the same time. It gives me a stomach ache every single time.
Wow, but you tried.
Yeah, I tried.
Well,
yeah, like,
and
yeah.
So, I think a lot of people can relate.
Yeah, so there's definitely like, there's a thing, you know, like food combining is a real thing. There's certain foods that just don't combine very well together. Like papaya and mango, for me, stomach ache every single time.
For me, it's fine.
Yeah, but I just tried the other day. We had a really delicious papaya and we have all these mangoes and just had a massive bowl, and I didn't eat it really fast. It took me, you know, several hours, not several hours. I basically like probably 2 hours to like finish it because I was eating it slow because I got a stomach ache before and I got a stomach ache again, like a really bad one, almost like contractions. Like it would like hurt really bad and then go away. And I mean, I'm scared to try again, but I think that it's combining those 2 foods for me, right? So there's different ways to go about this. And really what I liked was, I liked the idea of living foods, sprouts, microgreens, stuff that's alive, right?
Yeah, I love those. Like when you started making, like during this Ultimate Raw Vegan bundle, I think it was the best idea ever to take people on a daily life. Like, how does it grow? And I'm always a fan of microgreens. Like before even, you know, when I was eating everything, I was already sprouting my greens at home because I'm in love with garden cress. I'm in love with alfalfa. So I've always been in love with those 2. So when you were doing it, I was like, oh, that's so amazing. And I don't know if you're in your kitchen, but then I see these greens you're growing and I'm thinking that's living. That's like the most powerful energy, right? Like, it's not the seed with all the power, but it just come out, like it just starts to bloom like spring. You're eating spring.
Right.
I mean, this is how I look at it. I don't know if you want to show it, if you can.
I actually have I'm set up in here to film some more because I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to show these next segments, which I'm going to add into my course because I can add more segments into the course. I'm going to show people how to grow in like recycled tomato containers and date containers, just like plastic containers that you'd buy food in. So you don't have to like necessarily buy trays, and you can grow really like in so many different things. So I actually have everything harvested and my racks are completely empty because I'm starting fresh. to show this next segment, which I'll be adding into my course, Sprouts, Sprouts, and Microgreens.
Yeah, wonderful.
Which,
I still have to do it, but I will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, there's different camps. And that's what's really interesting is like adopting the mindset that I had was like, all right, I just want to be a healthy individual and have fun. I don't want to be scared, right? I don't want to freak out and not be able to ingest food because it's not 100% organic. I'm not going to fall into this mindset because there's so much psychological aspects that play into diet, right?
Absolutely. Like this question, I don't know if you saw it before.
No.
Like this question from Miriam, that she said, yeah, but blending a blender, like it's not really natural, no animal uses a blender. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is another thing that's really interesting, and that's a good point. It is still processed, so you're bringing it through a process, but there's no other animal on the planet that builds buildings and creates cars and creates cell phones to talk to each other. We're a different kind of species. Very possibly, I mean, that's a whole other topic for another live. Very possibly we are seated here, hybrids, who knows, but we're not like other animals.
No, I think
we are creators. We create cities, we create aquifers and sewer systems and electricity. We're definitely different. So, but that's another thing that's where it's interesting, is because there's these different camps, and these camps there's a lot of, like, we're watching this show. It's this old school show that aired back in the early 2000s, I think, called Super Size versus Super Skinny. And it's a really fascinating show. They take somebody who eats like 5,000 to 11,000 calories of just total garbage. And then they take someone who eats like maybe 800 to like 1,400 calories of very possibly really healthy foods they feel is really healthy. And both individuals are completely like messed up. One over here who's super skinny is afraid of carbs or afraid of certain things, and they have to eat what the supersized person is eating. They swap diets. That's
really brave.
It's very, very impactful to both parties. And really what's interesting is a lot of it stems from some sort of trauma. They go back, they have pictures laid out. It's a really powerful show. They go back and they talk about what was it that changed for them to where they just started eating everything, or they stopped eating, right? And it's really interesting. So, I mean, we're so interesting as individuals, as human species. And I mean, there's the concept that we're just the imagination of ourselves. This is nothing but just a wild dream life, right? And, we have two choices. It's either fear or love. I love that.
Yeah, so, you choose life or you choose to hold back. And every time, I think, I don't know for everybody, but we just have to decide, choose love, choose to go forward, choose growth. That's where the magic happens, right? Yeah. And it's interesting though, because both these individuals in these shows, they're hurting themselves. Say the super skinny one thinks they're really, really healthy, but they're not. The women, they lose their periods. They start growing hair, on their arms and hands and stuff because their body's going through different things. And of course, the supersized person is going through their, health aspects. It's just so interesting and fascinating how we are as a society, and like why is it that we're choosing what we're choosing to fuel ourselves, right? And so for me, like, raw foods just feel great, and we like to have a lot of fun with raw foods.
And, you know, we have a lot of friends and people that we've met in this community that think that we're totally crazy, right? Because they are a little more extreme. They adopt something where they only want organic and they're only going to eat one fruit or one food at a time, called a mono meal.
Yeah. You
Now,
like mono meal?
I
No.
can understand a mono meal. A mono meal would be like you're hiking on a trail and you come across like you know, a berry batch. You know, you're gonna eat a bunch of berries. That's a mono meal. Perfect. Nothing wrong with a mono meal. Nothing wrong with a mono meal at all. But it's interesting when we understand like the biodiversity within our gut microbiome and how important that is to fuel them. When we cut their supply off and we're only eating, say, one kind of food for weeks at a time, we're starving out a lot of these bacteria, these beneficial bacteria. And that's what's really interesting too, is like there's some really powerful individuals within this community that have put content out over time, say 30 years maybe, but they're not necessarily furthering their education in the new sciences of the gut microbiome. And so that's the part that's interesting, is like, I feel like Liz and we kind of like, you know, I don't want to say battle, but for lack of a better word, kind of battle with people in this very community more so than we do meat eaters or, you know, omnivores.
All right. Well,
you know?
That's an interesting energetic perspective from energetic therapist over here. I mean, that's also saying something about, you know, where the focus is and what it is that you really want to learn. Because what I see from you, like you guys did this test with your microbiome and then again and again, what I see is that you're really trying to approach also scientifically on yourself with the test, like how is our microbiome doing? How are my good bacteria? Are they thriving or not? And what's happening? And I think, that's really helpful for yourself, but for everybody else who's watching that. So that's what I see.
Thank
I
you.
never did it, but I would love to. I'm pretty sure I'm better, you know, if I can relate.
It's
to
really interesting. And of course, we're at such an infancy stage in these tests. Like, you know, we don't necessarily know how completely accurate they are, right? I mean, our tests came back like amazing in a lot of ways, but we eat a lot of diversity, like to 100 different plant species we're ingesting every single week, right? So that's the thing. Like, basically, I got into this. I just want to have fun. I want to be able to ski when I'm 86 years old, like John.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm going to join you. Maybe I'm not 86 then, because I don't know really your age, but what's your age?
I just turned 45.
Okay. So yeah, I'm the same age as Melissa. So I'm a little younger, but we can still come and join you skiing.
Exactly.
I love skiing. So yeah, actually it's really interesting what you say about this mono mealing, because there is a lot of people, you know, doing that. And I also see a lot of benefits of the therapist there, but I also recognize that this is a fast, you know, that's a period. Like I did it like 78 days on grapes and grape juice. But what you see that I had to clean out before I would be malabsorbed, like it saved my life. But that's because it was the last resort, you know, like if I'm gonna step further, I might have to do water fast or something. I don't know. Like there was like, if the whole community gives up on you and the raw foods are helping but not enough, and you know, like you have to maybe try some other things that are working for other people. But I see that, especially after you get this feeling, you need, like, I want spinach, you know, like I was really at some point starting in the last days, I was really starting to juice all the greens. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna overflow my body with all these different kinds of green foods, and like rebuilding completely on you know, like on all these different kinds of fibers and nutrients and vitamins and minerals and, you know, like all these different kinds, because it's just really important. And people think, oh, I'll just do a fast for 10 days or for like, I don't know, a month. And then, oh, I go eat everything. And then they're in trouble because, you know, like you said, all the bacteria are dead. They're only used to,
yeah, I know. That's what makes it really tricky. And that's the part that's like, you know, I mean, whatever. Everybody's experiencing exactly what they need to experience for their own personal growth, right? Like everything is absolutely perfect in so many ways. And of course, I know we're really privileged as individuals to be able to go to stores and get mangoes, you know, pretty much year round, right? Like, it's interesting. Like, you know, we're a really interesting species. And I feel like we like to complicate things more than they need to be. And yeah, with, you know, it's like I said, it's interesting, you know, with people who are fighting for their life. You know, I can see, like, you know, you're at wit's end. You're going to do whatever you can to overcome that in a natural way.
Yeah.
You know, but for the average individual who really is healthy, like, we're going to fart. We're going to have pimples. We're going to have stressful days. We're going to burp. We're going to have a little, like, maybe a little indigestion sometimes, maybe that combination. But the part that's interesting is looking at those certain things and trying to, like, never fart again. So you only eat like one kind of fruit for days on end when you're really pretty healthy. Like just last week, maybe you're eating pizza and drinking beer. But then you saw something on YouTube, or you know, somebody said something, and you saw something on social media, or maybe you heard something on the news, and you're like, maybe I should change up the way that I'm eating. Really, the body responds so incredibly fast that it's like, for me personally, I think, you know, the best for someone who wants to adopt a raw food diet is just to do that, just to eat more raw foods. Like
that's it, right?
And that's it. You don't have to go on like this extended fast or eating mono meals for days, because what that does, the science has shown, is that basically our microbiome, the microbes that we have, the little dudes, I like to call them, they're very smart. Like, we're made of more microbial life form than we are actual human cells. So it makes you kind of wonder, like, who's really controlling the show? Like, consciousness may be in the body experiencing the life, but the microbiome, these bacteria, are really helping us either feel good or feel tired, right? And of course, there's lots of things that go into play, like adrenal fatigue and these kinds of things. But what's really impressive is if somebody just were to adopt a raw food lifestyle and stick with it for a solid 6 months to a year, they're going to see amazing benefits. Because this is the part that I really kind of like, I don't know. It kind of hurts me inside sometimes, but I know everybody's experiencing what they need to experience on this journey of life that they're living. But to see someone basically, like, maybe they watch a couple YouTubes and they start to prescribe to a certain camp and really kind of wreck themselves.
Could be.
Wreck their metabolic rate. They're not able to digest fiber. Like, we don't digest fiber. The little dudes digest the fiber.
I wasn't able to digest some fibers forever. Like, I ate so much crap before that when I tried to eat salads and stuff after, I was...
Right.
I am so lucky now.
And that's the thing, is like, we have two, you know, we have these microbes, and if you're feeding yourself lots of breads and pizzas and pastas and chips, then these ones are going to grow so big to be able to digest and take care of that. And when you're not eating a lot of,
us, right?
Yeah, they're helping us 100%. And then if you start to eat maybe a little salad and some cucumber, you're like, ooh, it doesn't feel good. It's because you don't have the microbes in there to be able to break it down. So you got to keep feeding them. You got to keep building them. But it can go to the other extreme where we cut them off completely, and we only drink juice. I'm not a person that is into that camp of drinking only juice unless you're at wit's end. Like you're, you know, like there's nothing you can do, like my mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I wasn't dying, but for me, I had the choice. Like you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And they also said, do a water fast. I couldn't even do an intermittent fast, like 14 hours. After that, I was completely dehydrated, and I was just, and I was drinking water and eating fruits and salads all the day. And I was just, can you imagine how dehydrated and how malnourished I must have been? Like, but that's normally it's not the case. So many people are, you know, they're still going to work and, you know, like doing their things and, you know, they're functioning. They're not like the doctor says, the way you're going now, you'll end up in a wheelchair and you will not be able to go anywhere. And you're just in so much pain that you can hardly sleep. And you wake up, like you say, with sleep apnea, like 10 times a night. And then, you know, after 4 hours of trying, you just wake up. But, you know, like that's extreme. Like then it maybe you need it. But I also recommend people not to jump just like that in a super long fast. I would just recommend jumping in raw food. But if you're still coming from the gigantic amount of, you know, SAD diet, then maybe just one raw meal a day, and then after two, you know, like and then
just start with breakfast.
So I just do fruit for breakfast. And, and add some more greens to your other meals. That would be
body though. The body is so incredible, and it's so responsive, and it reacts fast. Like, you know, and of course, like, when you try anything new, you might not feel the best, right? Like if you don't have the microbial life forms in there to really break that stuff down, you can't just eat massive salads. It's like, you know, going to the gym. You know, you're not going to go to the gym and bench press 300 pounds your first day. You've never even been to the gym. You know, like you got to start off doing some other exercises and build those muscles to where you can be able to, you know, bench press a bigger amount or whatever. So it's really interesting. And of course, it's sad in a lot of ways because the food that's out there, like here we're in Vegas, we're at 68%. We have 68% more fast food options and chains here than any other city in the nation.
Wow. But I am sure that I found raw food there. But I must say, traveling from there to Phoenix and then from Phoenix all the way to Nashville in a camper van in the middle of the desert, it was quite difficult to only eat like fruits and the salads and stuff. They were all dying. But we were lucky. There were apples, amazing apples everywhere. So I just bought gigantic amount of bags and put them in the car. And it's quite mono meal, but it was like the big jump, you know, like, okay, I'm hungry. Okay, we have, you know, we're the 3 people. Yay, another 3 kilos for you, for you. To continue. And I think you are like, I thought it was really lucky because people complain. I don't know how it is, but you can tell me if it's your experience as well. I'm super curious about that. I was able to go to different like supermarkets and like dollar store and stuff, and we would find even like super nice organic food.
100%. Yeah, there's this place called 99 Only, and it's like $1, and they have like organic cauliflower, and nobody touches a lot of the veg. You know, so like we get really good deals there. We shop around to different stores, but as far as like restaurants go, right? Food chains. It's what's interesting is not only in Vegas, but in our world in general, there's so many options for so many like food-like products. It's not real food necessarily. Like you can eat it, right? But, and of course, you know, there's everywhere. There's so many animal products everywhere. And then, of course, the common thing is so many people are on different medications. And then they just talk about the different medications they're on while they're drinking their beer, eating their chicken sandwich, right? So it's interesting where we're at in a way. And, of course, you know, you've got the anti-vegans out there thinking that this is like a new age or like a new world order thing to try to wipe out humanity, which I could see their points, because, you know, maybe some of these vegan foods aren't necessarily the healthiest either. These companies don't really care. They just want our money.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah, they also like started on their sad diet, and they learned from their parents, and they thought,
Yep.
okay, this is how I'm going to make money in the world. And oh my God, I got, you know, I'm now, you know, and a lot of people that work there, like 95% of the people, I guess, are just working there because they also want money to buy food and have a living,
Yeah.
instead of how
I
can I
just,
turn it around and thrive, you know? I understand this. Yeah. I have
yeah,
another question. Maybe you want to answer for Miriam?
sure.
She says, is it normal my stomach does it bad on high fruit?
Mm. So let me get this straight. When she eats high fruit, her stomach doesn't feel good?
Yeah.
Gosh. I mean, see, that's another thing. I can't just sit here and be like, oh, well, this is the problem, you know, because of course I'm not a doctor. I don't necessarily dedicate my life to understanding these. There's so many different aspects. Like, you know, like that's like such a minuscule amount of information. Like, what is it that she has been eating, you know, beforehand? You know, like what kind of traumas does she have? Maybe she's, you know, blocking some certain things. What kind of fruits are she eating? You know, if you're eating fruit, like I said, with strawberries and watermelon, stomach ache every single time, like a painful stomach ache for me.
Yeah.
Mangoes and papaya, same thing, painful stomach ache. So I just avoid eating those together. I could eat papaya by itself or mango by itself, but I'm going to try it one more time just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that I cannot combine those two together. It hurts so bad.
Okay, well, I see a lot of people combining watermelon with coconut, and like my boy saw that photo and he wanted to make watermelon pizza, and I was like, please, no. And like I want to try, and I couldn't even, I was in my mouth and I couldn't swallow it. It was just wrong. But he was like, oh no, it's fine. And he didn't have any problems. But then again, you know, he was breastfeeding, going into raw, like he ate like some cooked foods here and there, but like he was allergic to almost everything. So banana is his thing. And he so when he was 2.5, he went all raw vegan. And yeah, now apparently he can food combine raw vegan all over the place without any problems. And that's very strange for a kid that, you know, overreacts on gluten, strawberry, kiwi. He was overreacting on anything we gave him.
Gotcha.
So
it's interesting. I know. It's tricky. It's tricky, especially with kids. You know, there's certain foods that maybe not agree with them. But for the girl who was talking about, Miriam, you said her name was. I can't see any of the comments or anything coming through or whatever. But and I don't want to like swipe out of the live. But I would say like I would say just to like, you know, take note, you know, like what fruit are you eating that makes you feel funky, and then maybe just eat smaller amounts of that fruit if it's something you really like, or if it's something you can do away with, maybe go a different route and eat something different. Maybe your body just doesn't agree with that just yet. You know, like of course the microbiome aspect, like you got to start small, little bits, maybe just one bite. Say you can't have mango, it messes you up every single time, and you're like, but I'm bound and determined to eat mango, so we eat one little tiny spoonful of mango a day. It was my one day of spoonful of mango just to build that microbiome. Because it takes time, you know, it definitely takes time. But I definitely, you know, Lisa and I both, like, we're not really into like restricting certain foods, you know, like we want to eat as many of the raw foods as we can. And, you know, like the tricky part really is just keeping our fats low, because it's easy to incorporate more fats into your dressings, like you know, some sunflower seeds or hemp seed in your dressing. Your salad dressing is delicious. We use dates in our dressings to get good calories, because that's another thing is like, we really got to make sure as a raw foodie, I mean, really, even as someone who eats anything and everything, like it's really important to to track what we're actually ingesting. Like I'm going to be doing this hike with my son on the Colorado Trail. I'm not going to do the through hike, which is 500 miles. I'm just going to do about 100 miles with him. But I'm going to need to bring with me at least 4,000 calories per day, because I've gone out for a day's worth of hike and I burn 26 to 2,700 calories. And that's not including what I need, my body needs to actually function properly, which is about 1,600 calories. Like my basal metabolic rate, just laying in bed, breathing, would be like 14 to 1,600 calories just to keep the body functioning properly. So it's really interesting. Tracking what we're eating is really important. Like how much are we getting each day? Do we know what we're getting? Like I know when we built this smoothie is 540 calories. It's bananas, dates, some carob powder, and a little maple syrup, water, and ice. But the amount that we put in there, split in half, 540 calories is this smoothie. So it's nice to know what we're ingesting so we can kind of see, because these bodies are like a car for our soul to drive. And there's certain things that we can do to serve the car, the body, to where it can operate in a way that we want it to be, which is optimum. We want to be healthy. We want to be able to go walk around. We want to be able to laugh and play and maybe run a little bit, or roll in the grass, or climb a rock or a tree or something, right? So we have to make sure that we're getting enough nutrition, enough nourishment. And the only way to do that is to relearn about these foods that we eat and track it. And it's not like, I mean, I tell friends of mine, like, hey man, if you were to eat 60% raw, like you're doing fabulous. If you're eating 70% of your food is from raw food, you're basically a raw foodie. 70%. You don't have to be 80, 90, 100% raw, right? Like just eat more raw food. Have your cooked food. If you want to have oil and salt on your potato, then whatever, do it. You know, it's not the best, right?
But if you can without, it's amazing. But if you're like not there and you're incorporating more, you're doing good. Like that's so important for people, that they feel like they're doing good and they're good enough. And you know, that's really important to talk to yourself. I completely agree with that. I also want to get back to Miriam, like her question about the food. Because I think she's Dutch, because her name is super Dutch. So can always, you know, like talk to me in Dutch, because we have in the Netherlands, we have some places where there's really unripe fruit.
Like, that's a good point.
They the apples in the Netherlands, they grow.
That's a great point. I wanted to mention that too. Like, if you're eating unripe fruit, that can really mess you up. And I feel like a lot of people, I feel like here in the States too, it's hard to get ripe fruit. It's not picked ripe. It's brought in on a truck somewhere, unless you're picking it off the tree, right? But then, you know, it could leave kind of a bad taste in people's mouth. They're like, I don't like fruit. I get like an upset stomach every time. And it's like, well, possibly because the fruit that you're eating is unripe.
Like that. So, and I think we also answered this question of Rose's out. She says like how to ease into, well, I think we answered this question, right? How into the raw food, just start incorporating more. But she did do 60-day juice fast. So I think you answered her question without reading it really like very detailed, because it's so important to start rebuilding your body and make sure that you have all the microbes to break down whatever it is that you're eating. And I think that's really important. You have to learn to re-eat. And I'm also convinced that everybody can do it. Like babies have to do it, right? They are born with a permeable intestine, basically. It's kind of, you know, leaky, and they have to, you know, they try different foods and make the right bacteria grow and stuff. So I'm sure we can do it as well as an adult. I really believe our soul is in charge here, like you said. Like our soul is really, you know, the generator behind everything, and if it's still liking the planet Earth, we'll be able to drive our car vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to put diesel in my benzene car, you know?
No. Right. No, you want the best. It's funny because like we don't really put value on stuff that was given to us for free in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Right? Like we put more value on stuff that we paid a lot of money for. Like, you know, say, let's take the car thing, for instance. Like, I know guys that have $250,000 into their vehicle. Okay. Because it's like, you know, it's a specific vehicle for racing, right? Out here in the desert.
Oh, yeah. I would buy a whole eco village here in Spain for that.
Right? So, but it's interesting because they spend so much money on their car, but they don't really treat their body very well. But the body is like a multi-gazillion-dollar Maserati.
Yeah, but if you're in this super awesome car, where are you going to get your fruit?
Yeah, where are you going to get your food? And Mother Nature designed it best. And you know, that's one thing that really like resonates really well is there's food that is like that wants to be eaten, because there's a lot of food fear. There's a lot of fear being pumped around food. Like, say for the anti-vegan message is like these plants don't want to be eaten, right? Because they have oxalates and they have different things that protect them. But when we look at the studies of being able to reverse heart disease, reverse erectile dysfunction, reverse breast cancer through eating plant fiber, it's like, obviously these plants serve us in a really good way, you know, so I don't prescribe to that. But it's interesting because somebody can be really scared. There's so much fear, and we can adopt this mindset as to, oh, I can't do that. I can't combine these certain foods. It's like, look, before anybody who's tapping into this diet, before they tapped into this diet, they were probably eating like Top Ramen noodles or Taco Bell or McDonald's and having some beer and some pizza and chicken wings. They weren't thinking about food combining.
No.
Right? Well, but of course, a lot of these foods they have no fiber. So when we start eating, what's that?
They were thinking food combining, no? Like you said, the beer's got to go with the pizza and stuff like that.
100%. They were. They're like, hey, this is, and it's interesting too, because in a lot of ways, that's like a huge way that people relate to one another is getting together around food and beverage, right? And so that's one really tricky thing is, say, if you're going vegan, that can be tricky, but there's a lot of vegan options out there, plant-based options. But going raw, it's definitely tricky. Like, you're cutting down your circle of things to do quite a bit. Like we have a hard time, Lisa and I, we have a hard time going out, like, cause there's like, you know, I mean, we'll go out for the ambiance and maybe we'll throw down $30 for a salad that's just pathetic.
Yeah, I know this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then of course the dressing has a lot of oil in it. Like we've brought our own dressing sometimes. But so that's where we just like to bring our food. Like, the real food is at the supermarket. One thing I really like about being raw is it's so fast to shop. You just go in, you go to the fruit and produce section, maybe hit the bulk and the spices, and then you're out of there. Like, you don't have to go up and down the aisles, and it's so quick and easy. And of course, there's people that are like, oh, well, you know, isn't it so boring to eat the same thing? And it's like, really no more boring than the way that I used to eat, because we would have tacos or burritos every week and spaghetti and pizza and, you know, maybe some, you know, burgers, or it's the same thing. It's just, you know, it's not much different, but you definitely feel different. And it's hard, I feel like, in a lot of ways, because of how commercialized food is and how it is pumped that, oh, in order to have a good time, go out and have some drinks and grab some meat,
Yeah,
right?
I noticed that here, especially here in Spain, and I really like, I never had any problem with social events because I never really went out to a restaurant unless there was like an occasion and it's planned like 2 months ahead. I would just
Yeah.
call the restaurant, explain my diet, and
Yeah.
ask if they want to make something. And if they don't,
That's
if it's
fun.
okay if I bring something. And
Yeah.
usually I get like amazing stuff. And the
Yeah.
Netherlands,
If you call, yeah, we've found that here too, like a couple places. You call them up, and then the chefs are actually excited because they're like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm gonna make something totally different.
Yeah, you don't expect to be like filled up, so you still need to get your calories somewhere else. But at least you'll have a beautiful, delicious meal with everybody, you know, your loved ones or your relatives or your family or your friends, whoever you're with there. But here in Spain is so different. Like I just say to them, yeah, can I have orange juice? Because oranges, we're an orange place, like oranges are everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
Yeah.
Like nobody eats them anymore because they're on the trees here. That's what it looks like. Like, yeah,
Gotcha.
It's very different here. The social pressure. Like everybody eats out here all the time. Like,
well, here, you know, in Vegas, it's the same. Like, but you know, I mean, there's definitely other ways to connect with individuals. Like I met, you know, some people out on the mountain bike trails yesterday, and you know, we go like hiking and rock climbing, and like you meet people out there. And of course, if there is any, you know, diet kind of related topics that come up, you know, like we're raw foodies, and we do try to like, you know, like we try to relate to people, and we try to like, you know, validate them as well. But then we try to like maybe plant some seeds and educate just a little bit, because we all could be eating more food that Mother Nature provides for us in its whole natural form, right? Like we don't need to necessarily cut down forests and, you know, have, you know, monocrops to feed these animals that are like, there's not enough. Like if the data is real and it's true, like we really have to change the way that we're running this planet. Like it just, there's not enough.
If
like cutting down the Amazon forests, the rainforest, to be able to grow monocrops to feed these animals that we eat that are killing us. It's making the pharmaceutical and medical industries so much money, right? Like there's not a lot of money in helping people get well.
But we can share, and what you're sharing is really amazing, to actually have people, you know, use more of the whole living foods that Mother Nature provided, just like you just said that, and you put that way more beautiful than I can repeat that, you know. Like she
knows. Hey, the mothers know, right? The mother wants the best for her children. We're her children. She's provided everything that we could ever need. Now, of course, we could get into, you know, the concept of genetically modified foods, which it's kind of an interesting topic, because me personally, I don't mind a seedless grape. Eating seeded grapes, right? You can see how maybe one bush didn't have as many seeds, so we cross-pollinated that with another bush that this didn't have very many seeds, and pretty soon we kind of...
It's different. That's so important. Like genetically modified or cross-pollination, that's two completely different things, because that I went to the agricultural university, and they show me like how this all goes, and they show like different pollinations and different plant combinations that, you know, they are able to combine, and they're able to make a plant, and it makes fruit. It's so different than taking something and going in the DNA and like making some alterations over there and in the petri dish, and then, you know, add some other genes of some other plants to make it alive, or to have it like build in pesticides. Like that's completely different than cross-pollination. So I just want to mention that for the people watching, that that not all the seedless grapes are GMO. Like they're cross-pollinated. And
but it's still modifying the genetics though. grafting. You're still kind of modifying the genetics. Totally. It's not the petri dish, but it's humans messing with the like bananas originally had so many seeds that you could there was hardly any fruit there.
But they taste me though. But you're full of seeds, I know.
But what a pain, right? As a human, we're like, how can we get more? Like, I would imagine, you know, sitting in the hut thousands of years ago thinking like, how could we get like the banana have less seeds? And then one plant had less seeds. We're like, oh, that's the one. And then, you know, we mess with the genetics of that plant to where we can foster these sorts of things. But this is the thing that's interesting, is these are the kinds of things that really like cause a lot of fear. And I don't think that's healthy to, you know, to be scared of food that is seedless. Now, of course, it makes sense in the aspect of, well, you are what you eat, right? So do you want to be fertile? Then you want to eat seeded fruit. Makes sense perfectly, 100%. But, you know, like I said, sometimes seeded fruit's kind of a pain. You're like, oh man, like that was a lot of work for just a little bit of fruit, you know? So it's interesting. We're just in such an interesting stage of our evolution in so many ways. And we can see like, we're really like, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know?
And we have to learn, I guess, like what you say.
Yeah.
There is such a big difference. Like some people are eating everything, like meat and grains and stuff, and they're afraid of pesticides, or they're afraid of seedless grapes. And that's just, you know, that's just a different perspective. And then you have like the raw foodies that are afraid of the seedless grapes. And people always ask me, yeah, but I don't buy it because, and I say, dude, if you eat seedless grapes, it's so much better than no grapes. You know? Exactly.
Somebody says here, Miriam, I think, she says, and don't get sunscreen. You eat fruit and it's not necessary. Sunscreen blocks vitamin D. This is a very controversial subject. And I don't agree with that.
Oh, you do?
I don't agree that there's definitely certain sunscreens that aren't necessarily the best for us, but either you're wearing long sleeves and big hats to block the sun naturally, or we as humans have invented things to help us. Yeah. And that's something that was invented. And then of course, over time we see, ooh, this is actually a bad chemical combination. It's messing with us. Let's tweak the combination. We're alchemists. And so sunscreen is very beneficial in a lot of ways. And to, you know, working in the hospital, I would see people who basically like were against sunscreen and then, you know, get malignant melanoma on their nose, on their ears, on their neck right here from driving in the car and the sun shines through. So there's a reason that we invented these sorts of things. Now, of course,
there are alternatives, right? Like,
because
I'm pretty sure, like, if she's from the Netherlands, she is like me. In the Netherlands, you have to be really white to need sunscreen. If you don't go running around right now completely naked in a pool or river or some other watery things, you'll be fine. But it's totally different. I was in Nevada, I was in Arizona, the south of Spain. Really, you need to protect yourself, and
you got to protect yourself. It's like dental care, because say some raw foodies are like, you don't need to brush your teeth if you're a raw foodie, and it's like BS. You have to take care of your teeth. We have little dudes in there in between, they're pooping, and it's causing problems. We have to have good hygiene, and we have to protect our skin.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that, you know, sunscreen, there's definitely like the copper tone and different sunscreens out there that are really like, they're not good. Like if you look at the ingredients and you see what's in there, and that's the thing, is like, we have to educate ourselves. We have to look at the data. We have to see who's funding the studies, right? Like, what's this company about? Because there's definitely certain companies that don't really have our best interest in hand. Their interest is money.
Yeah.
But then there's other companies that are like, and of course, if we were to follow the indigenous cultures, like here in the States, we have a lot of, it's funny, I don't know what to say because I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you can't say anything the right way anymore. Latinos, Mexican, right? And they're completely, here in the dead of the summer, 115 degrees, 117 degrees out here in the desert, they're fully covered. They're wearing sweatshirts and they're wearing big sun hats. They don't expose their skin to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the gringos. It's only the white people who are like out there with no shirt on, you know?
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
really,
But
it's interesting.
and we can, I mean, like, I agree if we're talking about bad sunscreen, you know, like the traditional ones that we have in the Netherlands, the ones with the parabenen and the aluminium, but there are a lot of them without, and there are a lot of like plants and oils that can be combined in a perfect sunscreen.
Yeah.
That, you know, like that you don't need to buy this crap and
Right.
put on you.
Yeah.
So
like Lisa and I both, like, we have, like, I've got a sunscreen chapstick and we don't use a lot of sunscreen. Like she buys some stuff from Osea and it's got some SPF in it. But normally we just, like, you know, I'll wear short sleeves. So my, you know, my arms are getting some sun, but yeah, I mean, I definitely, it's interesting. It's so interesting. And it's like only time will tell, and only the studies, you know, over time is going to tell, like, you know, it's another one of those things where we can be scared. Like we don't need to be, you know, because the fear itself, and like, say, like Lissa's mom, she was so healthy, like granola kid. But of course she would eat like the grass-fed beef, everything organic. She got cancer, right? And like, was it because she was afraid of getting cancer? Like we can like almost like cause these kinds of things, but for being so afraid of, because if the story is true and we're walking antenna, right? And we're putting out like stuff to the universe, our thoughts, the universe, the one infinite consciousness isn't necessarily getting I don't want. It's just getting what you're putting out. Right?
The I don't want, it's missing the I don't want. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's interesting. Like, I mean,
reminder.
You know, and of course it's really important for us to do research, to know what maybe the best would be for ourselves, but it's like we can't win them all, you know? We just can't win them all. Like, and we're all gonna die. But of course, on another aspect, if we're only the imagination of ourselves, death doesn't exist. This is all just like a really amazing dream that we're having together.
Yeah, collective awesome dream, right?
Yeah.
But
so,
we have to do some lucid dreaming because a lot of people feel like they're out of control.
Yeah. And I know, yeah, we're out of control in a lot of ways. We are like definitely affecting, like there's no denying it. We are affecting the planet in a lot of ways that isn't necessarily the best.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we love the ideas of, you know, being off grid and in a community, but you're still going to be creating things to make it easier for that community, right? Like we've evolved to where we are because that's just how we are as humans. But as far as like the food concept is so amazing because really the concept of eating like dead animals now, you know, is just unnecessary. Like I could see, like I used to hunt and fish and we raised rabbits because we wanted lean, clean meat, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I was wanting the best for my kids. I didn't want to buy this, you know, conventional grown meat, but it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like we're not like in the survival state anymore. For the indigenous tribes and cultures out there, it's a whole nother story. They don't apply. But for us in the developed cities and developed nations, we have the choice. And we can also see what these choices do for us in the long run. When we adopt a healthy plant-based diet, our bodies really, like, especially if it's dialed in to where you're getting enough nutrient, the body just like is healthy, it's thriving. Like there's so much data. And of course, if there was any bad data, it would be all over the news. But they have, but
I'm not sure about that, you know?
Yeah, but
I don't know what they're sending over the news right now.
No, I know. But it's interesting because if there was a lot of bad news about a plant-based diet, rest assured we'd be hearing about it on the news and in social. But a lot of that is being suppressed because there isn't that kind of data supporting that. The data shows the endothelial cells being able to regenerate because it has we have the nutrient that we need, stuff that is helping us. It's just but of course, Mother Nature would not make it that hard for us. We don't have to think about things like so intensely. We just need to go back to nature and eat living foods.
Well, I agree with you. We should.
Yeah, that's the simplest way. Like we love to complicate things, right? We love drama and we love to complicate things. And that's another cool thing about you putting together the Dutch Fruit Festival, right? Bringing people together with just that community. Because that's another thing I feel like we're really lacking in today's day and age. We have we have like a lack of community, and in a lot of ways, and what's the word? I'm losing the word here. Lineage, right? Like our lineage. We don't necessarily really know our lineage. We've lost that like community or that tribal style connection. And so we're really searching for that. I feel like a lot of people are. And we find that through either getting drunk and going out dancing with friends, which, I mean, some of the best nights of my life was when I had a good buzz at a party, right? Like some amazing times. Now, of course, it's more fun to be completely coherent, right? And conscientious of your evening rather than be like, I can't remember what we did last night, but it was so awesome. But we're really missing, but we're missing, we're like jonesing for that connection, right?
I think
and so that's and that's what's cool with these festivals, is because when you changing your diet, it's harder to change your diet than it is your religion, right? Like people could, I feel like that's something that I've always said, like it's easier to change your religion than it is your diet. People are so strong with what they feel is like something they need to eat. So when you change your diet and everybody thinks you're crazy because you're only eating fruit and veg and nuts and seeds, which I always loved that thing that Doug Graham would say. He's like, you go talk to these doctors and all the doctors are like, oh, well, yeah, fruits and vegetables are really healthy. Yeah. And, the naturopath says, oh, yeah, fruits and vegetables. And, dietitians, fruits and vegetables. You need to eat more fruits and vegetables. And then he's like, what if you just only ate fruits and vegetables? And they're like, oh, no, that would be bad. Right?
Yeah, it's so funny. That was exactly my thinking. I was like, wait, what if I only eat fruits? That's it. And then everybody around is going like, what? Yeah. Don't you see? That's it. Like, it's so simple, but it's too simple. Like, it's too simple to be acknowledged. Like, people don't believe it. It doesn't resonate because it cannot be so simple. But yes, it is. But Tom, thanks for your words. I'm sorry to interrupt you a couple of times because I was looking at the clock and my baby's got to go sleeping because tomorrow it's school.
Oh, yes, definitely. I know it's 9:30 over there, isn't it? You guys got to get to bed.
Yes, and tomorrow we have to wake up at school, and it's really I love what you're sharing, and it's really amazing. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to thank you for sharing everything.
My pleasure, Wendy. Thanks for having me on. Definitely.
You're
Enjoy the
welcome.
night. Enjoy the night. And thanks for everybody who tuned in and listened. I wish that we could have answered more. I can't see the questions. I don't know what's the deal here. I only
It
see
goes so
one.
fast. Like I
Yeah.
had some that stay, but it goes like a lot of people join and go, so it goes so fast.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure we covered most of the questions. Not so. Yeah, thank you so much, Nick. Do you want to share where people can find you?
Sure. Here, I'll put it in the chat. This is my Instagram handle or my YouTube channel. And I'm also on Facebook. I'm not real active over there. But Raw Natty Nate is my Instagram handle. I don't know if I did that right. I should have probably put the @ sign. But yeah, at Raw Natty Nate, that's RAWNATTYN number 8. Because when you sound it out, it's Nate.
Yes.
So it's short for Nathan.
So Nathan Maris, yeah, I know we all remember you, and well, I wanna thank everybody who was watching, who came in and popped in and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to know all about the fruit eating and raw vegan healthy diet, and you want to ask more personal questions to Nate and Lisa, yeah, you're welcome at our Dutch Fruit Festival. It's in the Netherlands, 8 to 12 of August. And actually, Doug Graham, that Nate just mentioned, is coming to share his information with us as well. So we're really happy about that.
That's so cool. Yeah, we wish we could come and hang out with you guys this year, but maybe virtually.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, like, if there wasn't crazy stuff going on, we'd just pop over there. Hey, have a meal, come back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need the Star Trek transporter ability, right? Like two to beam up. We can come have.
I think the other half of our creative community tribe will come and help us with this tech stuff. So it cannot be long now. I'm waiting for it for 20 years, so it's got to come now.
It's got to come. It's got to come. Excellent. Wendy, is so good. Enjoy the night, and we'll see you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening or day. Bye.
Bye.